my name is Doug, and today I'll be talking with you about Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's syndrome is a neurodevelopmental disorder, which basically means that Aspies, or those with Asperger's, are wired differently than neurotypicals, which is the Aspie term for normal people. It was first discovered in 1944 by Austrian pediatrician Dr. Hans Asperger, who noted that these were children who could talk before they could walk and for whom words were their lifeline. The Harvard Mental Health letter describes Asperger's as a form of autism or an autism spectrum disorder. The spectrum ranges from those who may be mentally retarded or infantile, incapable of interacting with the outside world, to the other end of the spectrum where we've got Asperger's, who normally have got normal to high levels of intelligence. The problem with Asperger's is not so much with intelligence or vocabulary, but their inability to understand social conventions and to read social cues. In Trying to Dance But Missing the Rhythm, Ramon Selov, a college professor living with Asperger's, describes his sensory sensitivity to loud sounds, bright lights, certain tastes and textures and smells that can make life unsettling. He talks about hyperfocus. Many Asperger's people have got the ability to focus on a single subject. As he puts it, the entire world can disappear and we can focus on one thing. You see repetitive behaviors such as hand or finger flapping or twisting, rocking, whole body movements. And he talks about runaway associative thinking. So many thoughts linked together that leading to unusual conclusions that it makes it difficult to explain to others, and sometimes results in giggling or acting in socially inappropriate ways. The Asperger's Association of New England says that Aspies can usually experience, due to their difficulty understanding social conventions and reading social cues, they can seem tactless and rude. They stand too close, talk too loud, sometimes have difficulty making eye contact. This can result in difficulty making friends and make them the subject of bullying in childhood. They're unable to take hints, keep secrets, understand metaphor, symbolism, humor, and irony. They're often clumsy with poor handwriting. They're easily upset when their expectations are not met or when their routines are disturbed. They have trouble with executive functioning, organizing, initiating, analyzing, prioritizing, and completing tasks. They're inflexible and resistant to change, which may trigger anxiety, while familiar objects, settings, or routines can provide reassurance. Aspies suffer from not fitting in or the wrong planet syndrome. They're vulnerable to stress, which can escalate into psychological or emotional problems, including low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and OCD. A deficiency in empathy is frequently cited as a characteristic of Asperger's, but in Who Cares? Revising Empathy in Asperger's, the authors describe two types of empathy: the cognitive empathy, or theory of mind, which is the process of understanding another's perspective, and affective empathy, which is the observer's emotional response to affective states of others. Aspies lack cognitive empathy, but score the same or higher in affective empathy than neurotypicals. In European Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, Mark Woodbury and Fred Volkmar describe Asperger's as people who are typically motivated to interact with others, but they might find themselves socially isolated because of their odd communication styles. They're overly formal, may take the form of in-depth monologue about a single subject of interest, which is another key Aspergian characteristic. Specialist Simon Baron Cohen, who began studying Asperger's in the 1980s, said that at that point in time the ratio was 1 out of 2,500 who were on the autism spectrum, whereas today the number is considered to be about 1 in 110. In Health, Life with Autism, Dr. Martha Herbert says that there's been a 600% increase in the number of children being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorders in the last 20 years. She cites better screening methods as one of the reasons for that, but also suggests that there are unknown environmental factors as well. Boys are 4 times more likely to develop autism spectrum disorders than girls. There's a strong hereditary aspect. They've not been able to identify the autism gene as of yet. Asperger's and autism spectrum disorders are easier to identify in children. By adulthood, most Aspies have developed coping mechanisms that can make it difficult to diagnose. There is no pharmaceutical cure or other cure, but some suggestions for management from the Asperger's Association of New England are rote verbal learning of social rules rather than role-playing, a parts-to-a-whole approach in which verbal information is presented in a series of steps. Aspies do better in a small group setting where one-on-one supervision and support is available, and small group activities. Organizational skills can be assisted through the use of scheduling, scripts, rules, or lists. In conclusion, from their own perspective, Aspies are not disabled but different. Positive aspects of Asperger's include normal to high intelligence, good verbal skills including rich vocabulary, originality and creativity, the ability to think outside the box, honesty and ingenuity, a careful attention to detail, a strong work ethic that includes particular attention to accuracy and quality of work. Their special interests can be tailored towards productive work or hobbies. Clearly, proper diagnosis of Asperger's is critical to helping Aspies get the understanding, coping mechanisms, and assistance they need in order to be functional, productive members of society. Thank you.